Hello and welcome to the Foundry Roundtable, the podcast exclusively covering the Foundry for Star Trek Online. I'm your tame Foundry author, Drogon1701, and with me, as always, are my partners in crime, Greendragoon and Markhawkman.
One of these days we're going to do something other than crime.
I keep asking, but you guys project that every time, so I mean... But anyway, what we're going to do today is we're actually going to start with some Foundry stuff. The downtime is still ongoing, although I hear tell of a few more missions have been appearing, besides the ones that have been there for a week or so. So hopefully that is progressing, and we can finally make it through this. We're coming up on, what, the 4th week? Something like that?
No, start of the 4th week.
Start of the 4th week. We're in the 3rd week now.
Yes.
Which isn't unusual for it to take this long. Not going on past.
It's a relatively long downtime, but it hasn't gotten to be excessively so yet.
Yeah.
We're not in epic downtime territory just yet.
We're not in epic yet. Exactly. But like I said, we are going to start out in the Foundry because there's a couple things that have appeared on Tribble that we are going to show you tonight. So Dragoon's got the first one up here, which is a slightly redone, or altered, I should say, Deep Space Nine map, which is exactly the same one we've been using all along. However, we can now access ops and quarks. They are in the map now. You can see them on the mini-map. And they are actually below the promenade geometry. So they are about... I was tinkering beforehand, and looks like, if you put your spawn point at minus about 307, that gets you pretty good for those two parts of the map.
Yeah, as Taco mentioned in the past, those particular bits of geometry were always part of the Foundry version of DS9. It's just that the way the map was cropped, you couldn't actually spawn characters inside them.
Is that room platform or 0 altitude, Drogon?
I have it on 0 altitude.
Okay.
And
I
just to
think
make sure...
room platform varies depending on which part of the map you're doing it with, and it can have very unexpected results.
It can. Which is why I generally set to 0 altitude whenever I am doing anything complicated. But this is nice. It opens up some opportunities. Unfortunately, it's another one of those things where we can't transfer, say, between the promenade and ops inside our missions because they're on the same map, and you would have to do... They're separate from each other, so you would have to do a map transition to do that.
Yeah. Also, from what I heard, this is an old version of Deep Space Nine that doesn't have the Cisco's office in it.
That could be.
We can tell as soon as Dragoon finishes loading here.
Put in positive instead of negative. Try again.
Ah, yeah.
You got the aerial view.
I'll tell you, though, that's an easy way to determine some things. For one thing, Mark said that he had heard that they were at about minus 300 something. And to confirm that, what I did is I simply just put my spawn point out into space over the geometry and let myself fall down, and then did the /LOC command.
All right.
And you can place NPCs here. So I think what Taco has probably done is gotten an updated mini-map and then maybe expanded the placeable area downwards.
Actually, in the forum thread, Taco claims that whoever did this, it wasn't him.
Oh, really? Intriguing. Perhaps it was Zero.
Secret Foundry cabal.
It's the same secret person that gets us all the new ships, perhaps.
Or maybe the same person who has tweaked some of the other maps in the past.
Could be. But yeah, you're right. There is no Cisco's office on this one. It's just dark in there.
Yeah, it's an old version.
There are no chairs around the ops table, but
we could actually
have
put
access
those
to
in.
chairs that could work there. So yeah.
Honestly, I think I like it better without chairs at the table.
You know, they kind of alternated sometimes in the show. You'd have a lot of times where they were having meetings around the table where there were no chairs, and then sometimes there were chairs.
Well, I mean, you know, in a real world scenario, chairs are something that people often relocate.
True. The view screen is interesting. It's got views of the wormhole, the station.
Kind of sunk into the wall a little too much.
Yeah, a little bit.
But in fairness, I mean, this is
one that dates back to launch. So, I mean, you know,
want to
there would
say
be a
this
lot of
isn't.
things that they can look at and say we could do that better.
I want to say this isn't launch. This is probably the first update where they did a couple of very small changes, like the changing the carpet texture. Because it used to have
possibly.
a different, more metallic looking carpet. But it's probably like first year or something.
Primar is saying this was in fact Taco, although he didn't remember doing it. Well, if he doesn't remember, then how do we know? And Primar is suggesting that this might be the STF version of the map from the original. What was it called? Defending Deep Space Nine or something like that. It was a fleet action.
Well, that's the launch, Deep Space Nine. So
yeah, and that dated back from launch.
Gonna try for Quarks.
Yeah, Quarks is at the same elevation. I can tell you that. We were talking before the show that, you know, many people have been saying that they would love to see a revamp of the interior of Deep Space Nine. Obviously, to make it a bit more canon, you know, maybe eliminate that teleport door between the promenade and ops, add the infirmary. There's lots of stuff that could be done to it.
And to just, you know, generally make it look cooler.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, this is definitely not the version that we've got.
Although, ironically, if they wanted to make it canon, they'd probably have to make it smaller.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've always found fascinating about looking at the you know, behind the scenes stuff and pictures is that a lot of those sets were very small, and they'd use, you know, wide angle lenses to make them look bigger. And the really funny things was, you know, when you'd have something like I don't know, if they had a shuttle exterior and the interior was on another set or something, a lot of the times they'd build the interior bigger than would actually fit in the shuttle.
Actually, that's how something that got brought up a few times, because apparently that time pod that one guy used was like that, even though it may or may not have been intended to be bigger on the inside. We don't really know for sure.
Are you talking about the one from Sunrise, which we'll be playing later?
No.
Yes, we'll be playing.
I'm talking Rasmussen, that guy.
Oh, okay, from TNG.
Yeah.
Which, of course, he was a time traveler of sorts.
Of course, he was a time traveler who stole his time pod from some guy who made the mistake of time traveling to the past.
Well, I have a feeling that they just redressed a shuttle interior to get the inside of his time pod.
Oh, I'm sure.
Probably. Truthfully, it didn't look like a complicated set at all.
Well, this is probably the version of Deep Space Nine that we had at the time of the launch of the Foundry when the map was originally added.
I would expect so, because I mean, if you go out onto the promenade part of it, I believe you there are things like the STF store that appeared at a certain point is not there. Obviously that's not really used for anything anymore, but it was there.
Well, we are just going to have to get Taco to revamp the current ESDs so we can beg him to put it in the Foundry.
So the other thing we want to show you is, since we're in here, we might as well show you the new Mirror Universe NPCs that Zero has kindly added for us.
Question: do these replace the old ones, or do we now have two sets of them?
Let's see. There used to be, what was it? There didn't used to be any Mirror Universe guys in the NPC contacts list, I believe. We always had the Mirror Universe NPC combat groups, and those have been updated with the new skins. But now we have some NPCs in the contacts listing.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's different.
Yeah. Some very specific ones. Dragoon, if you want to go through them.
Yep.
I have to say my favorite is Captain Maroney.
Which version?
The short shorts one, obviously, because that's just hilarious. But we got Kurland, we got Drake, we got a generic lieutenant, which Zero, of course, has some great descriptions. On several occasions, he's had his personal shuttlecraft stolen while he's on assignment.
It's like here. It's quite a few of these. It's taking me a while to add them all to the map.
Interestingly, some of these do use that Mirror Universe Odyssey version that showed up very briefly.
That's cool, because that was actually a pretty nifty-looking outfit, even if they decided they didn't want to use it for the actual combat mobs. I'm still kind of bummed that we don't get to customize characters with that.
Well maybe he asked Zero really nicely.
Maybe someday.
All right, fire up this.
But in the meantime, if you wanted your people to blend, you could just use the some of the Sierra uniforms or Jupiter, and put all sorts of like kit pieces and tattoos and beards and stuff on them.
Well,
I remember the old uniforms.
we do have the ability to customize the regular Starfleet costumes to add Terran Empire logos. So we can't do the cut-off jackets, but we can come pretty close. And of course, goatees.
I love Admiral Quinn.
So tell us who you got there, Dragoon.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so down at the very end, we've got Mirror Universe 0. Which is funny, because if you read the description, it talks about her boss teasing her about her angry resting face. I have a sneaking suspicion that boss is Gecko.
That's probably come from a real conversation.
So you got Mirror Universe Yenishev, who is... Yenishev is one of the fleet action contacts, right?
Yes. I know he does the contact for the crystalline entity.
Actually, yeah, I think that's pretty much the only thing Yanishev does.
I think he used to have more.
Got Mirror Universe Tanae. Mirror Universe Sean. That guy has an angry resting face. Mirror Universe Quinn. Just looked like he just took his normal uniform and cut the sleeves off. The interesting lieutenant.
The generic lieutenant.
There is nothing generic about this guy. Other than he doesn't have a name.
Why, who's he supposed to be?
No, it's just, there's a lot of detail on him. He's not very generic. Mirror Universe
he's not
Akira...
a named character is what he is.
So Mirror Universe Akira Sulu. Got these cool armbands with the daggers in them.
Yeah, I like that.
I want those.
Mirror Universe Kirkland 02. Because there's also Mirror of Universe Kirkland.
I keep seeing people saying Kirkland for some reason, and that's not who he is. We got two versions of him.
Yeah.
One's got a version of the Jupiter uniform. The other one is a version of the Odyssey uniform.
Cool.
This one's labeled Mirror Universe Drake, but he doesn't look much like our Drake.
Sure he does.
He doesn't have the same face.
Let's see. We don't have one to compare with.
All right. Mirror Universe Captain Maroney.
Never mind.
And
which of course is
I don't have one to compare it to, so.
Which of course Captain Maroney is Thomas the Cryptic Cat's in-game likeness.
Mm-hmm. Which you notice he is no longer at ESD since the last patch. They have sent him out on assignment, I believe.
Yes, they...
Or it might be this patch, this coming up patch.
No, he's gone.
He's gone?
Okay. But so is his ship. His ship's no longer in dock of...
the Pathfinder is gone.
And then other version of Captain Maroney. With his short shorts and creepy eyes.
I suspect Zero threw that in as a bit of a joke. But wouldn't you, if you could, prank your coworkers a little bit like that?
Oh, there we go. There is a contest we could have, is to have the audience design what they think our Mirror Universe versions of ourselves look like.
Which, every time people bring that up, I I think of the fact that some of my characters aren't from the Prime universe.
My latest character actually decided to make it as a mirror universe character. Currently, she's wearing the Enterprise version. Hopefully, someday we'll get some of these to be able to wear, but if not, still pretty cool looking.
I managed to get a hold of one of those Mirror Universe Guardian cruisers from the...
Yep, as did I.
So that prompted me to create a Mirror Universe character.
Yeah, since that's the only mirror T6 ship we got.
And the Mirror Universe to Noob Runabout to go with it.
Yeah.
It has a pretty color scheme.
There was a speculation thread on the forums in the Foundry section about what was the reasoning behind the change from yellow to red. And we have all kinds of different theories. My contribution was, maybe there are different factions within the Terran Empire, because I have to doubt that they're exactly a unified type of civilization. And maybe different fleets or different factions within it use different colors.
Oh, they unify through fear.
I think my favorite theory as to why they suddenly changed like that is that it's a side effect of Admiral Lita stealing future tech.
That could be.
I think they changed it to red.
And that the red painted ones are the ones that are affiliated with Lita.
I think they changed it to red so that they stood out more when you're fighting in and amongst regular Federation players.
Yeah, that kind of works too.
That's possible. That's the in-game, that's the game explanation. All right, Dragoon, why don't you head over to Holodeck. We'll get started. What we're going to do tonight is play through the featured episode Sunrise, which I believe the next featured episode actually starts tomorrow.
Yes, they're on the ball.
There's no lag time between episodes here.
Definitely feels like they've kind of fallen into a very nice rhythm.
Yeah.
And now you guys get the unbridled joy of flying next to the second largest Romulan ship in the game.
The second largest, huh?
Kara.
All right, so bear with us a moment while we get our team organized here. Mark, I don't see you online.
Oh, I'm in the process of switching characters.
Ah, there we
are. But right when you said we were going to start, I realized that I was playing a non-Fed allied character.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been doing our last couple of weeks on KDF characters, and tonight we have switched to Feds because of what we're going to do after playing this particular episode. Looks like patch notes are up for tomorrow.
Anything fun?
Yeah, let's see here. We got the new, or the adjustment to the traits system, so you can actually split up your traits between ground, or they're split between ground and space now. They're not both of those in the same thing. And you actually get 9 of each instead of 9 total.
Unless you're an alien.
Which you get 10. And they've added some new ones as well.
Actually, I think this makes aliens slightly more valuable than they were before because regular races may have a racial trait that's either only ground or only space for their actual racial ability, but aliens can have one that's for each.
Let's see, anything else in here? So Sunrise will become a level 60 mission, and Stormbound will be the new mission title that we'll be able to play tomorrow. This is a nice one. They're adding the ability to skip missions in the Iconian War category. That was nice because you're not able to skip.
I noticed that you can't skip them. You have to play through.
After tomorrow, that'll be fixed.
That's probably mostly an oversight because of the way they came out one at a time.
Mm-hmm. I would imagine so.
All right, so let's start Sunrise here.
With the war over, it's time for us to rebuild, to take stock of our situation, and to return to our roots as explorers. We've recently noticed that a star in an unexplored system near Ferenginar has become unstable.
I'm not there yet.
There's nothing to indicate any change to its stellar life cycle, so this is a perfect opportunity for us to chart the system, investigate the star, and improve our understanding of what's happening. I want you to head up this investigation. Find out why this star is suddenly dying, and make sure it isn't going to be a threat to any nearby worlds or systems.
Dragoon, or Mark, did you get disconnected or something?
Yeah.
It's all right. That happens. I got disconnected in the middle of a mirror run last night.
I can't talk. We've received instructions to pick up a stellar phenomena specialist, a Cardassian scientist by the name of Honora Zuval. She is currently at Deep Space Nine. We can beam her directly aboard from the station. Noted. We'll pick up the specialist when we reach Deep Space Nine.
Do we have to have all members of the team go to DS9 to do that?
Good question.
Thank you for the pickup. I'm Honora Zuval. Let's get started. My preliminary observations show some kind of unknown stellar problem. This unexplored system near Ferenginar is undergoing solar death. Basically, it's as if the star is going out suddenly, but there's no good reason why. We need to get closer.
I'm headed there at
Warp
Warp 21.
And see what we can figure out.
I'm going to remain in orbit for the moment.
So did that update for you, Mark?
That's right. I didn't actually.
Ah. So you will have to go to Deep Space Nine. In the meantime, Dragoon and I can park ourselves outside the system.
Never mind. Apparently that auto-completed since one of you guys had done it.
Oh, great. All right, going to an unexplored system. Which is nice. Fun thing to do. A little exploring. I can tell you this is a long trip when you're doing this on a low-level character. Because, of course, when you transwarp there, it transwarps you to the unexplored system, even though you have to go to Deep Space Nine first.
I say, are you on
Also,
a
I
low
get
level
the feeling
character?
you guys are not using board games.
I have been doing this episode to get the set on a low-level character. I'm not now.
Actually, just finished getting the set on this character. Haven't even tried out the
a lot of the
new,
times. It's a nice set, and the 3-piece ability is fun.
I haven't tried the quantum destabilizing beam yet, but it's phaser based, and this is my phaser character.
Pack says that once you have completed the mission, the system changes from unexplored system to its actual names. That's a nice little touch.
That's very similar to what happens with Dewa 3.
Yeah.
And Terran is going to get here sometime in the next 5 minutes.
Jeez, why am I so slow? Weird. A fleet of elite warp core and Dyson combat engines, Mark 13 or Mark 12. Anyway, here we are. Begin the sunrise.
We've arrived in system, about 0.5 AU from the star, sir. Still no indication of what's causing the stellar decay. Detecting only gas giants in system, no signs of rocky planets other than the occasional moon from those Jovians. We're a little outside optimal range. We could probably get a bit better resolution on our sensors if we nudge a few kilometers closer.
Let's move in closer, get some readings on the star, and see if we can figure this out.
Wow, your ships look tiny compared to mine. Which, the funny thing is, they're actually not that small.
I don't know what you people are thinking, bringing battleships to a science mission.
Getting swamped.
I
Solar
brought a science ship.
radiation. Try reducing the gain on your sensors.
Love this map, though.
Yeah, very pretty.
It's beautiful. Good lighting effects,
Initial
too.
results don't make any sense. The star's core reactions are failing, but it still has so much mass that it should be conducting fusion. It's as if it suddenly decided that it was no longer going to do hydrogen fusion, just heavier fusion processes.
Let's collect some stellar particles and see if we can find any clues with a more detailed analysis.
This kind of matter is ejected during corona events. We should be able to collect some with your ship's ram scoops if we head to one of the ejection zones.
We'll set up a plot of locations where we can take samples.
Get it? Setting up a plot.
Hey, and somebody found one of them.
It was me.
Let me guess.
It spawned right on. It spawned right on top of me. That's not considered spawn cannon, right? Right? There we go.
Results are coming in now. This still isn't making any sense. It's as if the star's life cycle was suddenly accelerated somehow, but it never went through an expansion cycle. There's no good explanation for this yet. Maybe something else in the system caused it.
What if this phenomenon affected other bodies in the system as well?
If this is system-wide, we should find evidence of similar problems, with nuclear and chemical reactions in the system's gaseous bodies. There's a large amount of gaseous stellar matter further from the star. We should have no trouble checking that hypothesis.
Set a course for the next closest body in system.
Results are coming in now. This still isn't
Oh,
making
hang
any
on.
sense. It's as if the star's lifestyle.
Oh, that's done over.
Yeah, it decided to loop on me.
If you close the dialog, you get the map transfer window.
Yep, I accepted.
I like how this one doesn't have your ship do a warp jump when you do the map transfer. It just flies off into the sunset.
Yeah.
Because technically, you're not supposed to be
Very strange.
warping around inside a system.
Usually nebulae are massive clouds
Especially not one this
between
unstable.
star systems. Finding a micronebula in system like this is quite rare. This may be the result of an event such as a cosmic stream, shearing through a gas giant and turning it back into particulate matter. I'll need some more readings to know for certain.
Determine the best places to scan for information.
All the particulate matter will make your ship's sensors unreliable beyond a few kilometers, and shields will be offline. The best we'll be able to do is to check small areas until we get close to something unusual. We should head to where the deionized particle density is highest.
Gotta use our scanners, the V key. Switch to short range scanners. I think this is the thing we were talking about last time, wasn't it? Something about
Yeah, where they
Foundry-
use the,
Foundry author's been doing that for a while, instructing people to use the V key.
Well, it's a good use of the technique.
I still think it's a great touch that Romulan ships, when you do the scan thing, it pulls up a green scanning beam.
Reading deionized particles, icy fragments, traces amounts of inert materials. Excuse me. Picking up some low-level distortion, possibly from impulse engines. Another ship may have been here recently.
Keep searching. If there's another ship here, we should see if they know anything.
Yeah.
One of the things I like here is the we're getting the nebula effect, but without the annoying full screen staticky stuff.
Well, I'm sure they can customize their static effect.
Well, they can do anything they want.
We got Tholians.
Oh, Tholians.
Surprise Tholian ambush.
Nobody expects the Tholian position.
Wow, I have to say, they completely ripped apart my Scorpion fighters. Actually, I think that they warped in on top of my Tholian fighters, or Scorpion fighters, and just opened fire on them
Data
immediately.
is coming in now. Nothing unusual coming in from the nebula, but those Tholian ships were quite far from home. Unfortunately, they can't give us answers. Looks like there's some heavy ionization on the far side of the nebula, though. As if it's receiving some kind of reflected radiation from one of the gas giants.
Set a course for that gas giant. Our chat room guys are talking about this Cardassian character, and the question was, why did they add her at all? Why couldn't you do bridge officers making that dialogue? I think it's okay to have a specialist for one thing for the story, and then I think they wanted it so they could voice a lot of that exposition dialogue, because that's pretty much why she exists, is for exposition.
Yeah, it's basically to prevent you from having to read a mass ton of exposition.
Technobabble, most of it.
I also have to wonder if they're planning to use the character later.
That's what I'm wondering as well, because at the moment she is just a fount of exposition, but maybe she'll be more later.
There's a large asteroid ring around this gas giant, sir. We're reading a few metallic asteroids and some low-level radiation. Maybe some additional clues, but nothing concrete. There's a lot of small debris moving at high speed here. Nothing we can't clear with our weapons, but we'll just need to make sure not to miss.
Helm, stand by for evasive maneuvers. Set course for the largest radioactive asteroid.
One thing I noted is that you do not want to let those things hit you.
I was kind of wondering what would happen, because I have not let them hit me yet. So what does happen?
You take a lot of damage. A whole lot of damage.
This asteroid is mostly silicates, with a few small deposits of iron and magnesium. Nothing particularly special.
Move on to another asteroid.
It's not one of those things where it takes a whole lot to kill them. It's just that they keep moving, whether you shoot at them or not.
I assume they're kind of like those Iconian ships that keep trying to ram you.
Something like that, yeah. Oh, and my fighters decided they want to blow them up.
This asteroid has some zinc, copper, and cobalt, plus traces of tungsten and mercury. A bit uncommon, but it doesn't give us any clues.
Move on to another asteroid.
Large amounts of nickel and titanium and uranium. Lots of silicon. Here's something interesting, sir. The asteroid's been excavated. Along one side, looks like someone used a primitive mechanical probe to crack part of the asteroid and remove some of it. Low-grade warp signature. Nothing sophisticated. Someone's been here, but probably not with any kind of technology that could explain the stellar problems.
Let's get closer to that gas giant and its moons, and see if we can find other clues.
Okay, one of the asteroids hit me while we were reading that. Granted, it hit me after my fighters had chewed it up, but it actually didn't do a whole lot of damage. Also, I've noted that sometimes my fighters will collide with the asteroids.
This is interesting. We're picking up several moons around the gas giant, and some of them are habitable. Admiral, I'm picking up comm traffic. One of those moons is inhabited.
Why didn't we pick this up outside the system?
There are thousands of background signals in space, sir. Many of them from civilizations we haven't encountered yet. Since a preliminary long-range scan of this system showed no M or L-class planets, it seems that nobody thought that it would be inhabited. Our computers just classified these signals as ambient background until we were right on top of the transmitters. Universal Translators is updating now.
Any signs of starships or bases?
A few minor orbital facilities. Significant industrial infrastructure, 8 billion inhabitants. Sir, I'm picking up a few low-power warp trails. Nothing the size of a starship. Maybe a handful of probes. There's evidence that we've come across an early warp-capable civilization here.
Let's conduct a few more scans. If this is a warp-capable society, then we make first contact. We don't want to seem hostile.
Huh, that's interesting. For Romulans, the button has different text on it.
This is Admiral Tarunin of the USS Nightwish. I represent the United Federation of Planets.
Welcome to Lucari. Visitors here are rare, but we're always gratified by the chance to meet and exchange information with travelers. I regret that you have arrived at a difficult time. You may have noticed that our home star has become unstable. I'm leading a project to try to reignite the star. Unfortunately, we've already suffered severe disruptions, and we have a lot of problems to tackle right now.
Let's pick. You've had visitors from other species? ?
Yes, we've previously had contact with the Zenkethi and the Ferengi. We've heard a bit about the Deferi and the Breen, but they haven't ever been to our system. Our home world provides for all of our raw material needs, along with a few mining outposts around the asteroids and the gas giant. We've never had a compelling need to engage in space exploration. And now that our sun is going out, We're scrambling everything we've got to see if we can find a solution or a way to evacuate at least a few of our people.
Let's say, we've noticed the problems with your star. We came to investigate why this is happening.
These problems started only recently, just a few days ago. Our astronomers noted a significant shift in the star's output, and now it looks like it's guttering and dying. If we can't solve this problem, it's the end of our species. I'm the project leader for our solar probe team. We're going to try to restart fusion with a quantum chromodynamic accretion burst, but honestly, this is a colossal problem, and it may be beyond us.
My ship is part of a larger fleet. We have advanced technology and may be able to assist you.
We have a solar probe ready that contains the booster module that needs to be fired into the star. It's capable of warp 2. There's a problem, though. The probe's remote navigation systems don't work. All of the interference from the solar flaring and guttering is blocking the signal. Could your ship get a trajectory plot so that we could set a pre-programmed course?
We'll look into it. We can use our astrometric computer to build a plot. So we're setting up a plot, and now we're building one. Looks like Mark got disconnected.
Poor Mark.
Does have connection problems. I'm sure he will be right back.
Alright.
In the meantime, Dragoon here has adjusted the trajectory so it heads right towards the sun.
Now, I'll have my engineers prepare the probe. Let's see if this works. Nothing to worry about, just the future of my planet.
We'll hold position for you to launch the probe.
The probe's made it out of orbit. Engaging secondary boosters to head out of planetary range. It's gone to warp. The probe is arriving at the solar corona. Deploying chromodynamic booster. No effect. It didn't work. Repeat. Well, it didn't work. That was our one shot. Thank you for trying to help. I'm not sure what to try next. Maybe we can evacuate a few people. I'm not going to give up. But the situation is grim. If your people can offer any other help, we would welcome it. But I just don't see a way to relocate 8 billion people in the next few hours.
We are not necessarily out of solutions. We might still be able to find a way to reignite the star.
Sir, an unknown vessel is entering the system. Small, but can't get a reading through its hull.
Getting very strange readings from the ship. Can't read the interior at all.
My name is Caldano. Looks like I've arrived at the perfect time. I'm here to help with the problem with this star. I'm a scientist, and I have some specialized knowledge that can help.
Shall we say his timing is suspicious and we need a reason to trust him?
Sure, why not?
If my plans were sinister, I'd just leave and let the star run its course. That I'm here and offering to help should be an indication of good faith. If you think this is some kind of trick, well, there's not much I can tell you there. But if you want to meet and talk about this, I'm willing to do so.
He seems nice enough.
I'll need some additional insurances, though. Assurances, not insurances.
Apologies for the interruption. This is my home star. My people are the ones at risk here. If you have some way to reverse this process, my people should be involved.
Agreed. Since no other solutions have presented themselves, we should at least hear him out.
All right. I'm willing to do so, but it will take me a little while to get a shuttle out there. As you might imagine, things are a little hectic over here right now.
Don't worry, we won't need a shuttle.
You won't be able to get a lock on my ship interior due to the subspace manifolds. I'll go ahead and bring you aboard.
Ready for transport. Let's let Mark get back in first. I notice he just signed on to Skype before we map transfer.
Yeah, my computer overheated again.
Happens, I'm afraid. I've thankfully not had that problem since I moved to my new duplex here. I like this gas giant moon here. Love to get these assets to play with. Really big gas giant. Although one wonders if it's part of the backdrop or geometry.
So
Dragoon is going to go find out.
the moon is definitely geometry. I would say the gas giant is backdrop.
You know, well, one thing I did kind of ponder was the Federation has seen on, at the very least, one occasion of a habitable moon of a gas giant. So I have to wonder why they didn't think to investigate that in this instance.
Just didn't think of it, I guess.
Although I suppose if they were only investigating via long-range scans, then it makes somewhat more sense.
I mean, it could be...
If this gas giant's anything like Jupiter, it probably throws off electromagnetic interference. That would make it more difficult to detect civilizations on the planets in orbit.
It would, yes.
Not to mention, I mean, you know how many moons are orbiting Jupiter? I mean, gas giants tend to collect them, so it's a bit of a needle in a haystack situation.
Actually, I don't think people have finished counting Jupiter's moons.
Yeah, we keep finding more, don't we? Of course, we keep finding more minor planets, too.
Like that Eris thing, which
Yeah.
People still haven't come up with an explanation for why it's there and not, you know, in the same place as the other ones. Because if I remember right, that one has like an orbital inclination of like 80 degrees relative to the same plane that most of the other planets orbit at.
I'll tell you, though, I think the thing I would love to have in the Foundry most from this map is that star.
It's a very pretty
cool
star.
Yeah. Love to have a star, man. A star object.
And there's several versions in this map with varying distances.
Mm-hmm. And it's, you know, it's not the first star we've had either.
In case people are wondering, it is the same star that we have on the new splash screen.
So I wonder if we'll be back more than once. I suppose we'll find out partially tomorrow, since we'll get the new mission.
It's kind of weird with the Iconian War arc over. And we're kind of starting into a new clean slate.
Okay, so beam to Caldano's ship, I guess.
Yep. Ready
Okay.
for transports.
Whoa.
Welcome aboard. I'm Cal Dano.
You moved me here without
This will be
forcing
interesting.
intervening space. You have quantum teleportation technology.
Yes, we call it a transporter. It has a limited range, but it's useful for going from surface to ship.
Impossible! This ship's interior is massive, even though it's no bigger than a shuttle.
My ship uses compactified subspace folds. It's bigger on the inside.
Right now, though, we have bigger issues to handle.
So, I just gotta point out, I mean, there's like several Star Trek references going on right now.
Well, there was a Doctor Who reference there a second ago.
Yes.
Well,
bigger on the inside.
It's a reference to a Doctor Who reference, not necessarily a Doctor Who reference in its own right.
Yeah.
Because the ship was shown in Enterprise.
Yes, it was.
And it looked pretty much the same as it does in the game.
Very intentional.
It is a pretty faithful recreation of it.
Yeah. It's pretty cool looking.
And of course, Cal Dano is the, as is referenced later, is the stated inventor of the Toxu Tot in Captain's Holiday in TNG.
Which, you know, before playing this episode, I hadn't seen that in years and years. So I did not remember exactly where that was from or what references were in that episode. I'll have to go back and watch it.
He's mentioned by name only.
Well,
You
yeah.
don't see him in the episode.
Yeah, I didn't think he was seen. But anyway, let's see, we gotta talk to this lady.
The Tholians are going to have a really bad day.
Overwhelming. This Caldano person is another stranger from somewhere else. And you're here to help with our dying star?
Yes, we came to investigate the star, and now we're involved.
Oh. Yes, I suppose I can see how a star suddenly dying might attract someone's attention.
Normally, my people are explorers, and we would open diplomatic relations to engage in first contact, but this isn't a normal situation.
It's an odd coincidence. We'd probably never have met if it weren't for the trouble with the star. My people have never really had any desire to go exploring out there. We've sent a few probes and met a couple of neighbors, but we're happy at home, and we have what we need, so why risk it? I guess this crisis answers that question. The galaxy is bigger than us, and to survive, we need to look past just our homeworld.
The United Federation of Planets makes exploration and peaceful contact with new species one of its primary missions.
It sounds like you have a lot of experience in meeting other kinds of people. Maybe if we survive this, we can take the chance and learn more about each other, to talk about what we might have in common and what we have to offer.
Ambassador Kumark, are you trying to seduce me?
You know, one interesting thing is that when you're playing this as a Romulan, your character talks about the destruction of Romulus.
Really?
Well, your character alludes to it because and one of them says, the Romulan people learned that lesson the hard way. We now seek new allies so that we can build a better life and a better society.
Ah. That's good. I like that there's the variation of dialogue there. Let's see, on the Fed side, the real dialogue, not what I just said, was, I'm sure that my people will want to open relations. Your experience here will make you a natural choice to participate in those discussions.
What can
That
I do
last
to
bit
help?
of dialogue
My
seems to
home
be
is
the
at risk.
same
I
for
want
both.
to do something, to be involved in solving this problem.
Don't worry, you will not be in any way involved in helping solve this problem.
Truly. Okay, so we got three options here, and I don't know what the difference really is between them, or if there's any
I have not
effect
found
to
a
it.
difference.
Yeah. So let's just say wait here. It'll be safer and less risky.
Basically, it just whoever she follows you around, she runs to Caldano, or she stays where she is.
Yeah, it doesn't really change anything, just where the NPC moves to during the mission.
They're playing with tech. It's like the asteroids. It's not really a point to it, but they're just having fun with the tech.
Yeah.
Welcome
Maybe they'll
to my
use it
ship.
for something.
Don't be alarmed. This vessel is from the 31st century and it has some technology you may not recognize yet. I can assure you, though, that I'm here to help.
You'll have to read that one, Dragoon. I skipped ahead.
Oh, that explains why I wasn't able to scan through your ship's hull, or how you were able to have technology that can repair a dying star.
Correct. I'm associated with the temporal division of, well, let's just say that I'm an ally from the future, and I'm here to save the Lucari star.
So this involves changing the time stream. I've had about enough of that recently.
No, I'm trying to prevent changes. Someone's tampered with this star. It's not supposed to die out here. The Lucari don't disappear today. At least not if we have any say in it. I have some technology that can help, but we'll need to rework it in order to repair the star's fusion processes. What I need you to do is to help me align this matrix to match the star's original spectrum.
Alright, we'll try to align the matrix.
I'll regulate the device's main power state from this console.
This is an easy little puzzle.
Yeah, it's actually very similar to the one used in the DS9 featured episodes.
Yep. Let me get a nifty effect on the cutscene.
Sir, while scanning, I got some data on Caldano, and it's a little surprising. He seems to be a hybrid of human and Vulcan, with some small amounts of DNA from the people of this world. Apparently, at some future date, these people, the Lucari, have a stronger tie with the rest of the galaxy.
So he's not just protecting this planet, he's protecting his own ancestors from annihilation. This actually means he's probably more reliable. Let's finish repairing the star. You're going to have to say it's pretty hilarious hearing you read the dialogue when what I see is the Doctor.
I saw Borg.
Sounds
Sorry,
like
buddy.
whoever tried to destabilize the Lucari star has decided to come knocking. Let's see who. They're packing a real wallop. Shields just went down. We have incoming!
Weapons ready. Prepare to repel boarders. What I was going to say is,
What are those things?
you're not much of a Bob Picardo impressionist.
No, but now that I know that, I might try.
I need to finish these computations. I have the device shielded in a force field, but I can't deploy it until these Tholians are out of the way. Shields are back online. They shouldn't be able to get any more boarding parties over.
Tholians. We'll make short work of them.
Well, we have extra people.
We do. We have more bridge officers than we ought to.
I actually have a full team of my own, and there's however many you guys brought.
I've got 3.
So Mark is cheating.
And Starbuck has none.
I don't need any.
We've got a breather. Now I just have to charge the device and prepare it for use. In just a few minutes, it'll propagate a quantum wave shift that should correct the star's stalled fusion process. You should head back to your ship, and I'll send the administrator back home.
Time to go.
Yeah, and anyone who's played this before knows that this is the time when you load the torpedo bays.
I
Batten
think
down
in
the
this game,
hatches.
it's pretty best to always have the torpedo bays loaded.
We're just a few
This is
minutes
true.
away from repairing the star.
Standing by. And by standing by, we mean kicking
Now the
ass.
Tholians want my quantum phase.
That is standing by. What do you do when you stand by?
as usual, we come in peace, shoot to kill.
Does it say big honking phaser strips anywhere on my starship?
I thought that was implied.
Just need a little more time to rejuvenate the star.
We'll make short work of these Tholians, since we're on normal difficulty.
That projected singularity thing is really good for smashing web.
So let's see. I'm in my plasma beam build Pathfinder. It's actually one of my favorite ships. Dragoon, you're in the veteran ship.
Yeah, and the Manticore.
T6 version. And Mark is in a giant Romulan ship. Which version is that?
This is even larger than most Romulan ships, too.
When Riker makes that joke about Klingons never do anything small, really he should talk about Romulans. So happy I just finally got my last trait I was working for, ship trait. So now I'm back in my Pathfinder where this character belongs. Back before Delta Rising, I used to use a Intrepid on her for a long time. Although if they put out a T6 Luna, I would be tempted to switch.
Give it time.
Yeah. I'm patient. To give a shout out to the Reddit build people, because that's where I got this build from. Plasma build, which works quite well. Routinely place in whatever it is, the crystalline entity advanced.
Activating the rejuvenator.
Oh, that disabling resonance team is actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I told you.
Just kind of aim and start plowing through their shields.
It's like a big old
I
beam
can kind of
from
understand
your
why some people call it the
fusion
epilepsy
process
beam, though.
is reigniting, and it's returning to normal.
Readings are stabilized. The shockwave should be barely noticeable by the Lucari.
Some of those ships have just arrived at our home system. They're attacking our homeworld. We don't have any way to repel starships like this. Please help us.
We're on our way. We must rescue the Lucari.
Please, you have to stop them. We don't have any warships or space weapons.
So, time for some smart tactics. In other words, dive right into them and hit fire at will.
Just thinking when she said that we don't have any space weapons, I was thinking, well, this is what you get for speccing into ground.
Well, after tomorrow's patch, they'll have no. Some future guy you are.
But one of the downsides to flying the car is that you pretty much need to use evasive maneuvers to turn quickly.
I find the same thing about my scimitar. Although the Crenum Dreadnought is surprisingly agile.
They've stolen my quantum phase inhibitor!
Those dastardly Tholians.
You just know we're going to have to find that thing later.
Oh, I think we'll be tracking it down in the next episode.
Steal the Tox Uthot while they had my ship webbed. That must have been their plan all along. My data suggests the Tholians use a trilithium warhead to destabilize the star, but the amount of resources needed to build such a weapon makes it inefficient to say the least. No, I suspect somehow they knew I would come here to save this star, and I would bring the Tox Uthot. Fortunately, the Lucari star is safe. However, nobody else will be, as long as the Tholians have that device. They could use it to snuff out or destabilize stars anywhere they want.
You know, I would complain about the fact that he keeps saying Toxutot wrong, except that he's the creator of it, so theoretically the rest of us are saying it wrong.
Well, one thing to remember is that in the TNG, all of the people who used the name never heard him say it. They read it off of things that he wrote.
Well, we're hearing the creator here, so I think we'll go with his pronunciation. We'll have to get it back from them somehow, but that means we have to figure out their next target.
I have some thoughts on that, but I will need to do some calculations. These events, and the Tox Uthot itself, are tied up in the temporal Cold War. The Tholians may not care, but by using the Tox Uthot, they risk distorting the timeline by wiping out civilizations that are supposed to survive into the future, such as the Lucari. I'll be in touch. At least now the Lucari will have a promising future.
Understood.
I wish I could ask you about your science, your trade, your society. But I suppose there will be time for all of that now that
I think I might have inadvertently skipped a dialogue.
Whoops.
Won't there?
That's all right. First contact with other species is one of our most important duties. Our initial meeting has shown promise for an exchange of culture and knowledge.
Oh, I think our friend the
For
administrator here is going to need a ride home.
Romulans, the last one there, my people lost their home to the destruction of their star. I hope that in averting this disaster, we've laid the groundwork for a place of mutual respect.
We'll rendezvous with you shortly.
So wait, we're beaming up the administrator from the ship we can't lock onto the interior of?
Maybe he's letting
I
us.
have collected an
somehow.
amazing amount of information about what happened to this star. Thank you.
Oh,
for
you
being
still
here.
here?
Once
Maybe
we're
now
back
that
in
he fixed the
Alloy
star-
space, I'll take a shuttle home.
Whatever was preventing us from beaming is no longer preventing us.
Well, no, they said that the subspace folds were interfering. Basically, the
Maybe
thing
check-
that's making it larger on the inside than the outside.
I would go with there. It is actually possible for us to use the transporter. We just have to have him give us the transport coordinates.
Yeah,
I think they messed up and didn't realize it. It seems that first contact with the Lucari has gotten off to a reasonable start. Now we just have to hope that when the Tholians show up, again with the Toxutot, we can stop them from doing anything disastrous. We are ready to leave the system on your orders, sir.
Depart
There,
system.
that was my
No, that
doctor impression.
No, that was terrible.
Okay.
Horrible. Ridiculous. It was so bad, I just warped right into the planet to make it stop.
Yeah, that's one of the weird things about having the a planet as part of the backdrop is that the game tends to have you warp out through it.
Yeah, it needs physical
Yep.
objects too.
All right. There's one last bit of dialogue.
Oh, and the mission
A
glitched
first
out, and I didn't
contact
actually
is a
complete it.
significant
Apparently.
event for the Federation.
Oh.
We will be glad to open a dialogue with the Lucari people. Unfortunately, the loss of the
Oh, well.
Tot is troubling.
Guess I'll have to do it later.
We have some reports about this device from when Jean-Luc Picard encountered it on Ryza in 2366. And obviously, we can't let the Tholians keep a piece of future technology that can destabilize stars. We'll have to deal with that later.
All right. And that is the episode Sunrise. Has a nice three-piece set with it. Has some fun stuff. Phaser and a console and a quantum torpedo, which does some shield stuff, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's basically a it's a shield drain. So it's negative all shields within a 2-kilometer radius. I want to say that it bounced some back to you. I don't know, maybe it's
Something
the
like
end.
that.
Yeah, okay, maybe it's just the beam that drains from a target and then. Yeah, it's
All
just
right. Anyway, thoughts on the story?
I thought it was a good start. It's definitely heavy in Trek references.
Also, this is definitely the sort of thing I would expect the Tholians to do. I mean, because
Steal stuff.
it's very much in line with their first appearance in TOS, and it also fits with their behavior in Enterprise.
Yes. Because, I mean, there's lots of references, including the ship, Caldano's ship, to that episode of Enterprise where they find it and everybody wants it. The Suliban, the Tholians, everybody. And the crew of the Enterprise is trying to get to a Vulcan ship in order to warn them off.
Doesn't the Vulcan ship end up getting destroyed?
It does.
Yeah.
Or severely damaged, anyway. But in any case...
yeah. Not completely blown up,
not
but
completely
shot.
destroyed. Shot full of holes.
Also, it's the one time in the series where you see Archer actually help the Suliban.
Yeah.
Because
one of those
Archer's
funny
not running away
things,
from the Suliban because the Suliban are trying to attack him. Then he runs into the Tholians, and then he kind of sort of helps the Suliban fight the Tholians for a little while, but he stops that after the Suliban get blown to bits.
I think he essentially uses that to let the Enterprise get away, doesn't he, or something like that?
Yeah.
Been a little while since I've seen that one.
I suppose another way of looking at it is that he used the Suliban as human shields.
So it's kind of a small mission, but I think that's okay in where it is. I think, we just finished the big Iconian War, fate of the galaxy at stake kind of missions, and it's okay to bring it down a little bit.
Well, I mean,
and obviously we're starting something important, but we're just starting.
But I mean, it definitely sets up that the big theme of these upcoming stories are going to be the temporal Cold War.
Temporal Cold War, without a doubt.
And it's a chance for them to.
It also throws in a big heaping helping of ominous foreshadowing because, the Tholians have something and you don't want them to have it.
No, we do not. Tomorrow, I hope we can take it away from him.
I'm calling it now that we're going to see Daniels in the near future.
I think that'd be great.
Didn't he show up in one of the blogs?
He has.
Did show up in one of the blogs.
Referenced or actually?
No, he actually showed up. He saves Caldano from, was it the Vorgons?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Be interesting to see the Vorgons.
I would not put.
They were only in that one episode.
I would not put it out of the realm of possibility.
I've always wondered if those were a reference to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Not sure which came first, actually.
No, I'm not sure either. I want to say Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is older.
Captain's Holiday would have been early 90s.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Well, the guy who wrote the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy wasn't above making pop culture references.
I think he relished them. So, what we're going to do in our remaining time is go do a little playing in the other piece of content that we got in the launch of Season 11, which is the Badlands Battlezone.
Yeah, I need to be invited to the team. I accidentally left.
Indeed. I shall do that right now. So obviously we have done all the other Mirror Universe content. Basically, Admiral Lita at this point is an admiral and is leading an invasion of our universe. Those mixed up, crazy mirror cats coming at us again.
I don't think we've ever actually seen a Mirror Universe-cation.
Maybe they're a dog kind of a race, a canine.
Or maybe they look like the ones in JJ Trek. I'm willing
basically
to bet
hot chicks with cat ears and tails.
I'm willing to bet that I get to the Badlands before Terran does.
My engines are apparently not the best.
It's a pity I had to give up my assimilated engine in pursuit of the Iconian set.
I got the first. But I had too much of a head start.
Well, you were halfway there before I even started. So.
Exactly. I like that the mission giver here is the Malinche. Nice reference to one of my favorite episodes of Deep Space Nine. Not really a mission giver, just doesn't give you a mission, but... Alright, so we're in one in progress here. Why don't we go to the portal generator Delta down there in the bottom right corner.
Okay.
This Battlezone works pretty similar to the Undine Battlezone. Got control points that we have to take control of. Oops. Why don't we take a pause here and help keep this point secure? That's something that gets very annoying when you're almost done, and then you open up the map and discover, oh, they recaptured the point. So I believe we did check the backdrop over on Tribble, the Badlands backdrop, and it is still the original one. There's none of this extra added stuff. believe you did that, Dragoon, didn't you?
Well, the plasma flares are geometry,
Not part of the backdrop.
not part of the backdrop. It would just be the ceiling and the floor.
So some of these things are actually hazards that you need to avoid, though.
True. In this particular Battlezone map, don't go into the tornadoes.
Yeah.
That's tough.
It is kind of fun if you use PBR to push the Terran ship through the tornadoes.
So it looks like we gotta activate some things here. Clear out some mirror guys.
Someone exploded.
I wasn't paying attention.
Well,
Suddenly my hull was gone.
I'm gonna have to maximize my screen here so I can actually see all of my UI controls. So I can't see the chat room at the moment. Sorry, guys. If you want to join us and you're in the chat room, we're in instance number 2. Do this for about a half hour or so. What I gotta wonder is, where do they get all these ships? I mean, there's just a massive number of ships that they send against us. Crazy shipbuilding. Maybe it's like Knights of the Old Republic, where they some advanced technology that builds them ships real quick. Starforge.
Maybe they built a really large replicator. It just eats raw materials and then spits out starships.
There you go.
I mean, we don't actually know how they defeated their Iconians.
We don't. We do know that they did, and it was perhaps more of an actual victory than achievement. Of course, all we achieved was pretty much a truce. Got them to stop killing us.
Who knows? For all we know, they took over. However, the Iconians were building all their ships.
That's possible.
Yeah.
Maybe they hijacked the Herald Sphere.
Who knows? Could be fodder for a Foundry mission or two. If Cryptic doesn't decide to answer that question themselves. Uh-oh. Luckily, I spawned quite close to the control point here.
Yeah, it's just on the other side of the planet.
Oops, we got one of our devices reset, so we're going to do it again. This, of course, is one of those things where you got to make sure that you are doing the objectives and not just killing. Ooh, hey, we got it. I got an achievement. Portal to Nowhere.
Those Armitage things, those can hit you really hard.
Alright, let's head on to the next control point.
Hey,
So
look, the other one's here.
Yeah. So I picked up a new Alienware keyboard, one of the ones that will change color if I go into combat, which is kind of a handy thing for letting me know when I'm out of combat because it switches from red back to blue. Alright, what are we trying to do here? Shutdown will progress if allied ships outnumber the mirror universe ships. Well, this one we just have to kill.
Device is active. Stay within 3 kilometers to start shutting it down.
I hate this one. Staying inside the blue circle is hard.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think it'd be hard, but it is.
Well, it's not a very large circle, that's why it's hard.
No, it is
Exactly.
Science vessel incoming. Watch out for repulsor.
And they push you.
It's even worse.
You can at least make sure that you're getting rid of the enemy ships inside that circle, even if you can't get into it yourself. Now, I will say I'm starting to agree with people about the amount of effects being shown on screen from all of our powers and stuff. Because when you get into this battle zone, it gets a little crazy on screen.
Nebula science vessel incoming. Watch out for repulsor beams.
Hey, it actually warns you about the tractor beam repulsor.
It does, and you want to heed that and always go for those Nebula class ships whenever they appear.
Device shut down 130. Nebula science vessel incoming. Watch out for additional plasma storms.
There, that'll take care of you. Little sub-nuke. I think I stumbled on a good way to get rid of the, or at least prevent them from doing the tractor repulsors. Of course, it's got a 2-minute cooldown, so
Terran Nebula science vessel will try to push you out of the area.
only helps you a little bit. We're getting close. We got 50% here. Ah, the tornado.
Well, the thing to remember about the tornado is that while it does hurt, it's not like it's going to completely kill you.
No. So let's hold damage to
Device shut down. 2/3
avoid
complete.
if you can.
Watch out. The Terran Nebula class science vessel will use repulsor
I actually flew through one of them
away
early and
from
only
satellite.
took about 600 damage. Again, though, it hurt.
Especially, of course, because it always seems like they come right towards you and you can't avoid them. They have a mind of their own. But I do, in general, like these space battle zones. I think they're fun. I always like the ending one. I think the ground ones are more fun for me, personally. But not everybody likes ground.
Yeah, honestly, I think ground BZs are more fun in general. That's actually a bit of a glitch, though, is that the Terran NPCs that have the ability to separate, their separation pets seem to linger longer than they really should.
I've noticed that in the
and become
invasion as
unkillable.
well.
Well, that's something that changed even with player pets, because now separation pets can outlive their masters. I've had a couple of times where I've died in my multi-vector assault escort, and I died, I respawned, and my pets are still out there fighting.
Got that one. Oops, we lost. We lost a couple points, but that's not unusual. Everybody's fighting to take new ones and we lose old ones. But the nice thing about these battle zones is a good way to get marks, of course, and the elite currency as well that you need to get items.
We heading north?
Head north. It's another one where we got to deactivate a sequence of satellites here.
I gotta say, I love how much of a beating the car can take. It's actually a whole lot like the Galaxy X in that regard.
One generator down. 2 more remaining. Generators offline. 1 to go.
Wow, my carrier pets didn't die.
Oh, what's your secret?
Generators are offline, but enemy ships are crossing through to protect the ring. Stop them!
Don't wait for the carrier pet to kill things. Ow! I think I just ate a warp core.
Author a heal.
The portal is closed. Excellent work.
Ah, I died for no reason.
I'm going to go with you ate a warp core breach.
Must have.
Because when I had that happen to me, I was flying through a cluster of Terran ships, and I wasn't entirely sure which ones were about to explode, and I think one of them exploded while I was home.
All right, let's head to the next one here.
Plasma controller. This is annoying.
Oh yeah, this one.
The station's metaphasic shields have dropped. Focus fire on the plasma control station. The station is drawing power from an auxiliary satellite. Shut it down to drop the metaphasic shield.
The annoying part is that the auxiliary satellites had a plasma. That is not a glitch, apparently.
Not a glitch, it's a challenge.
Metaphysic shields have dropped. Focus fire on the plasma control station.
I like how the plasma control station looks like a Tier 1 starbase.
Yeah.
Power from an auxiliary satellite. Shut it down to drop the metaphasic shields.
Note how the plasma flare pops up after it triggers this.
It's like it's attracted to the station or something. Gets to like 90% and then take a little bit of damage and done. Come on.
Station's metaphasic shields have dropped. Focus fire on the plasma control station.
Yes, warp core breach next to it. That'll take it out.
Your sacrifice will not be forgotten.
Metaphasic shields have dropped. Focus fire on the plasma control station.
Ooh, there we go.
Hey, another accolade.
Still quite a number of mirror guys to clean up here. I think I prefer the ending one where they disappear so you can move on. We're pretty close to getting all the control points here. We've just got one left.
I love it when enemies run away from my bioneural warhead. Why? Because that means that the point defense thing shoots them more. If they were to ram it as soon as I fired it, it actually wouldn't do as much damage.
Couple of points that might be close to falling again. I'm going to try and extricate myself. Go help.
I will head south if you head for the west one.
East. West, yeah.
I'm going to stay here because this one needs to be guarded still, apparently.
Yeah. They're just frigates.
Okay, that's done with, I guess.
Secured that one. One more to go.
And moving into attack position. It's a plasma controller. This will be fine.
S4 to attack position.
Right.
Mark, we're getting some feedback from you.
Yeah. A lot of sound there. You might want to turn off your audio there. Bart, turn off your audio. Your game.
Mark?
Yes.
I'm getting feedback from you.
Can you turn the audio down on your game? There we go. I think it was so loud and there was so much of it you couldn't even hear us. Go again. Yeah, there's a lot of audio spam in this battle zone, as you might imagine, just from the amount of skills and phasers and whatnot everybody's throwing around.
Seems like when I'm fighting the Terrans, there's a lot of shield bypassing damage.
All right. Now it's time for
The mirror universe bases are active.
Empok Noir.
We have 10 minutes to drive back as many as possible.
Which is essentially the same process as the previous one, where we got to disable the disrupt the shields and then get the plasma control stations. I played through the Battlezone once, and I cannot remember if on my first try I got all three of these things down. Because there's this one, of course, and then there's the Terran Empire Starbase and the Klingon Alliance Starbase. It seems that the Alliance and the Empire have some kind of peace treaty or something. We're here together. Plasma controller is vulnerable again. Let's go.
Disable the power station that's orbiting the base.
Now we got to get over to the other side of the station. And escort this thing around. Looks like it moves at about half impulse. Just a little bit more.
Disable the power station that's orbiting the base.
Alright,
Shut
that's
down the portal generator.
another one down.
Switch to emergency power.
Gotta get that phaser defense platform. Part of the key of this is trying to avoid aggro, and then you can get the objectives done.
Well, then I will just worry about trying to get aggro then, so the other people can do the objectives.
Alright, station is vulnerable. Let's go after it. And I think we're not destroying it, we're sending it back. I don't think we need to destroy it. It's too important of a landmark to do that. Add all those variable sensors 3 to it. There it goes. Got that one. 6 minutes left. Well, looks like somebody's already working on the Terran Empire base. That's good. That's some great piloting I see from you, Dragoon, on the live stream. Just dive right into the station. Good thing you can't hurt yourself.
The good thing this game doesn't have permadeath, right?
Yeah. Pull a Janeway and ram it.
A lot of forward-facing powers I have.
We can help out. Hey, there's Duncan Idaho. He's been working on this one. Duncan Idaho, of course, one of our newer listeners, friend of the show.
A fun pack. Is that ESD?
Not
nope,
exactly.
That's, one of the Starbase models, the Fleet Starbase models, T5, I think.
Disable the power station that's orbiting the base. Shut down the portal generators to force them to switch to emergency power.
Of course, ignoring my own advice about not getting aggro. Because, popping off Beamfire at will doesn't help with that, does it? Of course, occasionally the aggro mechanics in this game are a little wonky. They just start randomly firing at you. Alright. Station is vulnerable. I can tell you, I can't imagine trying to play this on my old computer because it would have just died. So I used to have to run Stowe at low graphic settings when it first started.
I do very much love my i7 processor.
Station number 2. See if we can get the third one.
Well, considering it looks like somebody's already started for us.
Yeah, we might be able to get all 3 here. There's Sutherland. Yeah, they're heading down to the last starbase here. Duncan, Sutherland in the chat room is saying that he hopes we get these mirror versions of the starbases in the Foundry. That would be excellent.
Hull integrity below 50%.
Alternatively, of course, you can use the existing ones that we have, because these are just reskins. I overshot. Reverse course.
Disable the power station that's orbiting the base.
2.5 minutes. I like how as soon as this one pops that we have to stand next to, all the Terran ships that you were fighting before make a beeline for it. Unless you can slow them down with something.
I imagine that interacting with it generates some amount of aggro.
Yeah.
Disable the power station that's
Objective
orbiting
done.
the base.
One more. Ooh, there's a temporal dreadnought up there. Ooh, actually not one more. Starbase is vulnerable. We got more than a minute left. I think we got this. The temporal dreadnought is pretty cool looking. Reminiscent, of course, of the Wells class.
All 3 bases have been forced back. Excellent
All
work.
right, Rocky. Got 3 gravimetric inducers.
Sensors reading a large
And there is, of course,
force of
one,
ships inbound. They must be making a final push.
There is, of course,
yeah.
one final thing
All
with
ships
Mirror Lita.
assemble to present a united
But we're
front
reaching the end
against
of our
Terran
time limit
forces.
here, so I think we're going to go ahead and shut down the stream, although anyone who wants to keep fighting certainly is welcome to do so. But Dragoon, if you want to throw up our contact info.
Okay. We can be reached by email at foundryroundtable@live.com, which is a great way to send in suggestions for topics, ask us if you want us to review a mission of yours or any other things you want to tell us about the show. You can send it there. We're also on Twitter at FoundryRoundTab. Dragoon can be reached at Dragoon1701. Mark can be reached at Markhawkman, and I can be reached at Greendragoon.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. Hopefully we won't have to do too many more of these before we can actually go back to what we usually like to do, which is talk about the Foundry. But that sort of thing is entirely beyond our control. We just we'll have to wait and see when the downtime ends. But for now, we will say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.